Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
And as you just heard, the Rocket Mortgage Fort Myers tip-off next week, the 3 days leading into Thanksgiving, the 24th ranked Florida Gators are a part of that tournament this year. And their head coach, Mike White, is kind enough to join us here on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Coach, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time. How are you?
I'm great, guys. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Coach, just talk to us a little bit about that Florida State game. I would think they have had your number. Getting that game had to do a ton for your program early. Just assess that win and what that does in November for a team.
Well, it was great to beat a rival. We've got a few rivals, of course, on our schedule every year. There's a couple SEC opponents, three actually, that we play twice a year. But the Florida State game, obviously, for our fans, is a very big deal, and it was a good win and a quality opponent, a team that I foresee being back in the NCAA tournament again. So it was a quality win. It will help our numbers down the road if you put ourselves in a position to where that matters, of course, which is the ultimate goal. And then it's also an opportunity to develop and to learn, and we're going to do that through wins as we are through losses. So watching the film yesterday with the guys was great. Had a good day, and we're off to a good start. We've just got to continue to grow and get better, and we've got to handle success the right way.
Gators are 2-0, and they play host to Milwaukee tomorrow night. And then they will head to Fort Myers late in the weekend and get ready for Cal, and then the winner of Ohio State and Seton Hall, or at least that is the plan. Coach, if I'm wrong, please correct me, but I thought, did you start 5 transfers in the Florida State game, or maybe they played the majority of the minutes, and it kind of led me to think, my goodness, how your job has changed here in a very quick period of time.
Yeah, we're starting some transfers and playing a lot of transfers, of course. We've also got some guys that we signed out of high school that are here and doing well. One out of junior college, in fact. So we've got a good mix, but we've done a pretty good job in the transfer portal. Florida's a destination spot, and a lot of guys in the transfer portal give us a look, and the landscape has changed for sure. It's a completely different deal than it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. We've all got our hands full with balancing rosters, trying to get a little bit older, trying to stay older if you can. You've got positional needs in the portal, of course, and then you got to figure out who wants to be at your place. Who's got interest in you. So we signed 3 good players in the fall, not too long ago, and we'll have our eyes open wide here come springtime, to continue to balance this thing out.
Coach, obviously communication for a coach is quintessential to being good. But with transfers and then your high school kids, the off-court communication that you must have to have now with your players seems to be even more important, because you're going in talking to these high school kids about playing. A transfer may come that takes some of that young man's playing time away. I would just think the constant communication you must have to have with your team is got to be a little different than it was when you started in this business.
Yeah, definitely. 20 years ago, I was in this thing at 23 years old as an assistant at Jacksonville State. And when you sign a guy, for the most part, you're going to coach him 4 or 5 years. And transfers were outliers for the most part. Definitely, very, very rarely would you see multiple transfers, or would you see 3 or 4 transfers coming into one class. And now it's very, very prevalent, of course, throughout our entire league and throughout the NCAA overall, and we're not the only sport. So, all you can do is control what you can control and be transparent with your guys. And, sometimes you'll have a recruit say, well, are you going to go into the portal? And you've just got to be honest. You don't want to mislead any of these young men as they make life decisions, very, very important decisions for them. Yeah, we're going to continue to survey the landscape, high schools, prep schools, junior colleges, and in the portal year in and year out. That's what we've got to do. That's our job.
Is it harder or easier to be Mike White, head coach of the Florida Gators, just from when you started 7 seasons ago? Because obviously there's pluses or minuses to everything. If
Sure.
Kids didn't have the freedom of movement when you started in 2015 that they have now. But then again, if you had injuries or picked the wrong guys, you can retool on a dime now. I'm just curious, do you think your job is easier? And I don't know if that's the right word, but you know what I'm getting at. Is it harder now to have your corner office?
No, I think it's neither. I think it's the same. We've just had to evolve just like the other 13 schools in the SEC. So it is a level playing field in that respect, in that we're all having to adapt.
Coach, we spent a lot of time, like most talk shows in Florida do, talking a lot of college football, and the SEC in particular. And the SEC, maybe in football, is a little overrated. Is it how underrated is your conference in basketball? Because your program's been solid for decades. Arkansas is really coming out. We already know about Kentucky, and Tennessee is a basketball conference in your estimation.
Extremely. The most underrated conference, arguably the best conference at this point, in my opinion. The computers will tell one story, and then what happens in the NCAA tournament, and then, postseason overall with recruiting. I mean, there's a bunch of different narratives to be told. We're doing a pretty good job this year of taking care of business so far in a very, very early season as a conference, winning some of the games that we're supposed to win, in particular, against some of these mid-majors. In the past, sometimes we've been ranked 4th or 5th or 6th, overall based on the computer numbers. I think this year's conference has a chance to be a top 3 league. Who knows, by the end of the day, maybe it's the number 1 league. But overall, when you consider all the different factors, I don't know that there's a stronger league. I don't know that there's a league in the country that has got 10 or 12 right now teams that think they've got a legitimate shot to be in NCAA tournament teams, and I wouldn't argue that. I don't know who has no shot. You know what I mean? I just think there's so much talent in this league. There's a lot of really good coaches. There's great facilities and traditions. The SEC network has been unbelievable for this league and our exposure. And I definitely, even though I argue that we're heading toward being the best if we're not, I think it's hard to argue at all that we don't have the most momentum right now as a league.
Well, I watched Seth Greenberg on ESPN's Family of Networks last night say, if it's not the Big Ten, it's the SEC this year. And he was pounding the table saying that, folks, get ready to maybe acknowledge that this year the SEC could be the best basketball conference in the country. It looked special. It felt special sitting in my couch. The moment with Keontae Johnson after the Florida State win. Obviously, we all know he collapsed in the Florida State game a year ago. His future is still in doubt. Your relationship with him, what the win meant, and just, also his future.
Love him to death. Very, very special young man on the court, off the court. Very, very talented. Best player I've coached. As strong of a human being and as strong of a spirit of anyone that I know. He's going to be fine. He's going to be more than fine. He's going to be a huge success in life, whatever unfolds here, over the next couple of years. He's got some things that he's got to figure out, of course. And he's as unselfish a person as I know. He has yet to be cleared, yet he's in our practice facility every day, holding office hours, doing what he can to help the staff, helping prepare for practice. And then he's out there helping us coach the team. I mean, we call him Coach Key. That's not an exaggeration. He's out there helping us run drills, and he's a huge part of everything we're doing.
Well, Coach, thanks for making time for us. Good luck tomorrow night. Safe travels to Southwest Florida, and a lot of Gator fans down here, as you know, and they'll look forward to seeing you in the Rocket Mortgage Fort Myers tip-off next week.
we're excited about the opportunity and really excited about seeing some of those fans that maybe we don't normally see as much.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Mike White, men's basketball coach with the Gators. It's year 7